Someone in your life right now is manipulating you. You have not figured it out yet, not because you're naive, but because they are too good at making you dance. And the worst part? They studied you so well to know exactly which buttons to press, which words to use, and which version of themselves to show you. Psychologist Robert Cialdini spent decades studying how people influence each other, and what he found was deeply disturbing. The tricks manipulators use are not random. They are calculated, deliberate, and they target the exact parts of your brain that were built to help you survive. Here are 10 signs that someone is quietly manipulating you. Pay close attention because you might recognize someone before this is over. Do not leave this video in the middle. These 10 signs are your Bible for catching a manipulator. Simple, clear, and something you can use the moment you finish watching. Every point builds on the last. Stay until the end. You will be glad you did. The first sign. They make you feel crazy for having normal reactions. Something upsets you. A broken promise, a cruel comment, a pattern you have noticed repeating itself. You bring it up, and suddenly the conversation shifts in a way you did not expect. It is no longer about what they did. Now, it is about you. Before you can even finish your sentence, the narrative has already shifted. Suddenly, you are the problem. Too emotional, too dramatic, too difficult to deal with. The original issue disappears completely, and by the time the conversation ends, you are apologizing for bringing it up at all. This is called gaslighting, and it is one of the most effective manipulation tactics ever studied. Psychologist Jennifer Freed found that when someone you depend on is hurting you, your brain will sometimes refuse to see it clearly. Not because you're weak, but because the truth feels too destabilizing to face. So you doubt yourself instead of doubting them. Normal people do not make you feel crazy for being upset. Remember that. The second sign, they use your kindness against you. Kindness is the door they walk through. You give people second chances, you show up, you care, and none of that is wrong. But in the hands of someone who knows how to use it, your empathy becomes the mechanism they operate. One problem leads to another, then another, and before you realize what has happened, stepping away feels impossible. Not because they stopped you, but because the guilt did. The exhaustion is not the warning sign. The warning sign is that you feel guilty about the exhaustion, like you owe them more, even when you have nothing left to give. The third sign, they give to get. On the surface, they look generous, always helping, always showing up, always doing something kind for you. But over time, a pattern emerges that you cannot ignore. Every favor they did for you arrives at the table when they want something back. Every gift quietly becomes a debt. Robert Cialdini called this the reciprocity trap, and it is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. When someone does something for you, your brain generates an almost automatic urge to return the favor, and a skilled manipulator builds an entire strategy around that one instinct. They give on purpose so that later they can take. Think back to the last time they did something nice for you. Now think about what came after. There's always something that comes after. The fourth sign, they slowly cut you off from everyone else. The manipulator never tells you to cut people off. They are far too smart for that. Instead, they talk to you, casually, privately, about how your friend is not really good for you, how your family creates stress, how the people around you do not truly have your best interests at heart. You hear it enough times, and you start to believe it. You pull back from those people on your own, thinking it was your decision. By the time you realize what happened, you are isolated. And the person who isolated you is the only one still standing beside you. The fifth sign, they keep moving the finish line. You do what they asked. You change, you try harder. You meet every condition they set, and it is still not enough. There's always something new you did wrong, a new standard you failed to reach, a new reason why you are not quite there yet. Psychologist Martin Seligman studied what happens to a person who keeps trying and keeps failing no matter what they do. And what he found was this. Eventually, they stop trying altogether. They become passive, they stop fighting back and just accept whatever comes. That state is called learned helplessness, and it is not a coincidence. It is the destination this tactic was always designed to reach. The sixth sign. They use your secrets as weapons. Think about the most personal thing you ever told them. Now imagine hearing it used against you in an argument. That is not a mistake. That is not anger talking. That is someone who was storing information from the beginning, waiting for the right moment to use it. Psychologist George Seaman, who has studied manipulative behavior for decades, calls this using confession as ammunition. And he says it is one of the most reliable signs that you're not dealing with someone who simply lost their temper. The intimacy was never real. It was research. The seventh sign, they pressure you to decide right now. Do you often hear this line? Decide now. You're overthinking. If you trusted me, you would not need time. The moment you hear those words, something shifts. The air gets heavier, the options get narrower, and somehow the most reasonable thing in the world, taking a moment to think, starts to feel like a betrayal. That shift is not a coincidence. It is the weapon. Because a manipulator knows that your slow, careful thinking is the one thing they cannot beat. So they make sure you never reach it. The eighth sign. They become the victim the moment they are caught. You finally say something. You bring up what they did, calmly, clearly, and before you can even finish your sentence, they are already in pain. Their suffering is suddenly bigger and louder than anything you were about to raise, and without quite understanding how it happened, you are now the one doing the comforting about something they did to you. This is not a coincidence and it is not fragility, it is armor. By becoming the victim, they make it almost impossible for you to hold them responsible for anything, and you walk away from the conversation feeling like the bad person. The sign is that they are never truly accountable because every conversation about their behavior somehow becomes a conversation about yours. The ninth sign. They are warm one day and cold the next. Think about a slot machine. You put money in. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but because you never know which one is coming next, you keep pulling the lever. You cannot stop. Now replace the slot machine with this person. Some days they are warm, kind, exactly who you need them to be. Other days they are cold, distant, impossible to reach. And just like the slot machine, it is the not knowing that keeps you coming back. Scientists call this intermittent reinforcement. You probably just call it the relationship you cannot leave. The 10th sign. Something feels wrong, but you cannot name it. This is the most important sign on this list, not because it is the most dramatic, but because it is the one that has been there the longest. There's a feeling you get around this person, a low hum of discomfort that never fully goes away, a tension in your body that shows up before your mind even catches up. You choose your words very carefully before you speak to them. You feel a quiet relief when they cancel plans, and then you feel guilty for feeling that relief. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio found that your body registers threat information before your conscious mind does. Your gut has been watching, tracking, filing a quiet report that your rational mind has been too afraid to read. That feeling is not paranoia. It is not you being dramatic. It is data, old, reliable, hard-earned data, and it deserves to be taken seriously. Here is what is true. Not every hard relationship is manipulative, and people do hurt each other without meaning to. But there is a real difference between a relationship that is difficult and one that is designed to keep you small. In a real relationship, conflict eventually moves toward resolution, accountability is shared, and things get better over time. In a manipulative one, the discomfort never fully resolves. And somehow, no matter what happens, everything always ends up being your fault. Your brain is powerful. It was built over hundreds of thousands of years to detect exactly this kind of threat. But it was also built to protect the people you're attached to give them the benefit of the doubt, to find reasons to stay even when staying is the thing that is hurting you. So trust the feeling that has been sitting quietly in your chest this whole time. The one you have been talking yourself out of. The one that showed up before you even had words for it. Someone in your life right now is manipulating you. You have known that for a while. Your gut knew before your mind did. The only thing that changed today is that now you have the words for it. And once you can name something, it loses its power over you.